Alright, so we got this package in the mail yesterday. Let's see what it is. Cool. So we got ourselves a brand new Night Devil JGINYUE, I don't know how to say it properly, but a B650i ITX motherboard. This came straight from China. So let's have a look. So the box itself is quite a bit unassuming. We got the web address over there. Yeah. And we got our serial key, serial number over there, and yeah, it's just a pretty bland box. If you're not a computer guy, you would be having a hard time to see what's in the box without knowing or doing a bit of research. Yeah, so the box doesn't really give it away. Yeah, let's open it up. Cool. All right, so there's a seal at the bottom here, which I'm gonna cut, so I'm gonna use a knife. So let's do that. Cool. Let's see what we have. Okay, so we have a manual, which is in Chinese, but we can sort of read the bulk of it. So supports AM5, 7, 8, and 9000. Okay, so they've included 9000, so there should be a new version of the board. So it's a B560, 2 DDR5 DIMM slots, goes up to 6800. We got one display, one HDMI, one USB 3.2, and yeah, it's just it's not bad for a manual. Nowadays you only get a QR code with most of the other providers, so yeah, it gives you a nice visual of what to expect, and that's really important. Because they got it right there, so it's easier for you to know where you're going to plug in all of your front I/O. Yeah, that's all just standard stuff. Let's move on. So we'll put this aside. Next up, we got ourselves a SATA cable. So that's in case you want to connect a SSD or a SATA hard drive. So we won't be using this today, so we'll keep it aside. And we got ourselves a Wi-Fi enclosure. So we're gonna be putting a Wi-Fi card that I've pre-ordered because I knew this will happen. Because most of these, while they do say they do have Wi-Fi, but they only have the Wi-Fi PCI slot and the housing for it. So we need to stick a Wi-Fi card in there, which we will do in a short moment. So let's go ahead and open up the box. So let's put this aside again. Open up the box. Okay. Cool. Comes in this nice static box. It has a base at the bottom too. Attention, observe precaution before opening up electricity. Discharge sensitive devices and all that. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna keep it in the box. So let's just open it up. Because yeah, mostly the boxes are pretty safe for them to just lay the motherboard on. Okay. First look, not bad. Got some bad symbols here. Maybe you could do a bad and theme sort of PC there. So looks alright. Let's just get the box out of the way. Okay. Cool, so what do we have here? Let's maybe zoom in a bit. Just bring up my thing so we can zoom in. Alright. Cool. So, yeah, we got a PCI slot. We got, I think that's front audio and USB there. I also went ahead and ordered one of these. This is just a USB 2 splitter because I'm gonna be using the AMD stock cooler, which takes up one of the USB slots for its RGB control. So I thought we might lose one, so I ordered one beforehand. We got 4 SATA ports. We got the front I/O here, the USB 3, USB Type C, 24 pin. Got 2 fan headers up top. Two DDR5 slots, the main socket, comes with the housing already, so that's going to be good for our AM5 cooler. And we got some RGB headers up top, and we have the EPS connector there. So from the top you might see that there is a large heatsink in here, but apparently it's hollow. Yeah, it's just you know, a piece of, I don't know, metal. Don't know if it's aluminum or what it is, but oh, and it's scratched already. Yeah, that wasn't me. And under here should be our M.2 housing, which we will install in a moment because I've already picked up the parts. And at the bottom we do have our debug LEDs. So you got the CPU, the boot, the VRAM, and the GPU LED. So that's really handy, like, you know, because sometimes with these AM5 boards, you know, the RAM support is just, you know, iffy, and your RAM stick may or may not be supported right away. So this is a good indication. But we are going to put it in a AM5. Well, it is AM, sorry. We're going to put it in an ITX case, so we want to make sure everything is up and running before we get to putting it in the case. So let's just zoom out a bit and let's get it open. Okay, let's also quickly look at the back I/O. So as we saw in the manual, so we have a display port, an HDMI port, we got two USB 3s. Well, it's 3.2, so that's good. We got a Type C, another 3.2. We got two USB 2s. We have a 2.5 gig Ethernet port. We got the optical audio out, and we got the speakers out and the mic in. And this is obviously for the Wi-Fi antennas, which is what we're going to put in here. So yeah. Before we do anything, I just want to make sure that we don't have any defects with our CPU socket. So let's just quickly have a look to see if there are any bent pins. Because if that's the case, then we won't be able to use this motherboard at all. And by the looks of it, you know, looking pretty close, it doesn't look like we have any bent pins, so that's a good start. So we'll just quickly close this for now. By the way, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to install this NVMe Gen 3 drive, which is 1 terabyte. This is more than enough. This is a build that I'm doing for my brother. He primarily likes to play old school games, so 1 terabyte is enough for him. So to install the NVMe, I love this thing. I had it for years, now it's finally getting a spotlight. So we're gonna unscrew these two screws from here to get ourselves the opening for the NVMe slot. I think that there is a slot at the back, but we'll quickly check it out after we install this front one. Yeah, so there's two screws. It just lifts up. Okay, so we have some thermal paddings. Make sure you remove these before you install your NVMe, else you won't want to take it out. Oh, stupid me. Okay, so you gotta take this screw out as well. This is what's gonna keep it at the angle. And I've seen a few videos where people have taken off the sticker, and it hasn't really made much of a difference. But in some cases it's just made things worse. So we'll just take this out. So we have the bottom pad ready. Quickly put this in at an angle. This is going to be tricky. Okay, so I forgot that this was magnetic, so that just makes it easier. And push it down a bit and then screw it in. You don't want to, you know, fasten it too much or put too much pressure on it, because, you know, this thing's pretty light, so it's not going to move or go anywhere. So we're going to do the same for the top one as well. So we'll just take the pack out and line it up. Was it this way? I think it was. Yeah. Okay. So It should go about here. Man. They're not sitting as flush as I would expect them to be, but yeah, as you can see, there's no gap, so I think we got it. Cool. All right. Next up, let's move out to our CPU. All right. So the CPU for this build is going to be a Ryzen 7 7600X. So this is a 6-core, 12-thread CPU. Obviously, we bought it used from someone here. And we're kind enough to drive up and drop it off to our place. So we've tested the CPU in the past when we purchased it, so it is running. So we know the CPU is good. While we do have some thermal paste, you know, in places where we don't want it to be, but honestly, it's not gonna matter. So let's just take the CPU out and slide it in. You guys see? No, it's just me, or it just feels like there's some spots on the back of the CPU. But once it be installed, we're not gonna tamper with it much. So let's just slide the CPU in and gently place it. So we want to there's a triangle here, so you match the triangle of the CPU to it. There are these two top cutouts that you want to make sure that they go well. It can only go in one way, so make sure you align it up before. Some people like to take this cover off, but I just like to see the pop when you put it in. Oh, well, it didn't do as much, but we got it out. So our CPU and our NVMe is installed, and so far we're getting there. And next up, let's do the Wi-Fi install. Alright, so next up we need to install the Wi-Fi. So for that we want to prepare the Wi-Fi module first. So I'll just zoom in a bit because this is a small part. So you do want to see it up close. So we got it. We took out the Wi-Fi closure. So it comes with 2 screws. So you want to make sure you don't want to lose the screws. So, place this side here, and it's a very fine screw. And this one here, so you want to use a small tip of a screwdriver, get it open. It sort of opens up. Oh, there's another one. And just make sure you don't lose these screws because they're very small, and I don't think you can just run out to Bunnings and grab one of these boys. Oh, and there's one that fell out from the inside. Apparently this sort of comes out like this. Okay, here we go. It just locks itself. We have to take this out. And seems like the inside is getting stuck. Oh, okay. Cool. Alright, so we've got that out. And this is going to be a delicate job, so if you've got finicky hands, maybe ask your friend to do it. Yeah, this is the smallest component of this build. So we were a bit proactive, so we went ahead and bought one of these from AliExpress. So what it is, it's a PCI Wi-Fi card. This specific one is a it's a Realtek card, so it's not Intel. And the reason why we went with this is because there were no Intel ones that were available, and the only Intel ones that were available were Wi-Fi 7. And from my past experiences, Wi-Fi 7 doesn't play well with B650 motherboards. But if you got an 85, I think 850, I think that's a new series. If you got one of those boards, you might have better chances of getting Wi-Fi 7 on it. But for Wi-Fi 7 on B650 or the 600 series of the AMD motherboards, yeah, it's not gonna work. Now we just need two tweezers to take it out, but that's it. So make sure you leave the screw, the glue over here, and don't take that out. This is a bit tricky to get it in now. So these two antenna bits go up here. So it doesn't matter which one they get into, one or two, whatever. Either you take it out and then try to massage it in, or I'm actually gonna do it the other way. So I'll just place the Wi-Fi card in the housing first, and then we'll plug in the antennas. I know it's gonna be hard because there's such a tight space, but at least we will know that they're not gonna come out after we put them in. So put the top screw in. Yeah, you can only put it one way. So there is this cutout. So you have the smaller section and the bigger section. Make sure it's in this direction. The biggest section is facing outwards. Yeah, you really don't want to put it the wrong way, because it is going to be a pain to take it out and put it back in. So make sure all of the stuff you see, all the writing and everything that you see on this tiny Wi-Fi card is just sort of facing you, and the bigger chunk is facing this way towards the antennas. Okay, so yeah, let's do it. So okay, so after a very long struggle, so we finally managed to get them in. So yeah, that took longer than expected. So yeah, fun of building ITX. So let's just yeah, we got it. So it's in here, and we got the tab that just clicked in, and now we just screw these tiny screws back in. So we'll just take our other tip, put it on. I would do the inner screw first. Okay, the second one. Cool, happy with that. Everything's in there, nice. So this should just clip on. Cool. And so our Wi-Fi card came with these two antennas as well. I might replace these in the future with shorter ones, just because they might look a bit big. So yeah, let's jump on to the next section after removing the back shield. Alright, so next up we're gonna install our Wi-Fi module in the motherboard. So to do this, we have to get rid of this heatsink here, which includes unscrewing these 4 screws. So let's get started. And this is where the second M.2 slot is. So just position it right. It just stays at an angle, but these 2 screws have a spring attached to them. As you can see. Camera won't focus, but you would know what I'm talking about. Might have seen them before. Actually, I think I'll just unscrew the backplate for no reason, but this should be it. Yep. Okay. Cool. So we can see we got our CMOS battery right here. And we got our MOSFETs, all of them lined up. Cool. So to do this, we'll just flip it to the right side so we can see. So we got a bigger, got the bigger cutout, two smaller. So these two small just go into one. So all we'll do is we'll carefully place it there, and it should just slide in. Okay, here we go. So it's just a very silent click. So this should have come in with two screws. So yep, that's the second one. Okay, so let's just screw that in. Yeah, and this should hold it in place. The fact that we have to, remove the whole back plate for it, it's just a bit of pain. We'll do it from the other side. No, it's supposed to be going in through here. It's not. Maybe that's just a continuing thing with this build or this motherboard that the screws don't go in. So let's try. Okay, so that's pretty secure. I'm happy with that. Hold it. So yeah, it should look something like this. All in all, this is decent looking board. It has a bit of weight to it as well. It's not one of those throwaway garbage e-waste that you would get. Seems legit. It was about 180 bucks Australian, so wasn't cheap, but it was cheap as per the ITX standard. So let's see. So next up, let's line up the backplate and the heatsink and screw it back in. Position this. Maybe we can just screw the backplate in first, and just be careful with the screws here. You don't want to lose them. I don't know where would you find a replacement. Let's get this one in properly. And there's also these a lot of sharp solder points coming out at the back, so just be careful not to cut yourself. So yeah, you'll be pressing on it pretty hard. So I'm gonna leave a bit of flex to the back plate just for now, so we can line up. And there is double padding here, so I've installed double pads, so that's good to see. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of line it up and drop it in place, and hopefully it should be easy. Yep, okay. And let's screw it in. Okay, so with that, we have all of the essential components that are laid out. Cool. Okay, so Gonna put on some thermal paste, bit of the golden goo on it. Yeah, I just bought this, big tube a while ago, and it's been going on all right. You should be spreading it, but I've actually ordered a AM5, copper guard, so it just sits right here, so it protects the thermal paste spilling out. But for now, this has to do. So the cooler we're using today is a Wraith Prism cooler. For builds like these, or like Intel 7, for AM5s, for the low end CPUs, this is perfectly fine. Even for like, the non-experience, it's fine for the higher CPUs. And looks pretty sleek, has RGB in it, which we will plug it in, because we were lucky that we got those cables with this. So if you want to save a bit of money on your build, maybe consider going in with the stock coolers. And installing it is pretty easy, so you just clip the tabs. Where we got the first one in, and now we just position the second one, and you just turn this lever, and with that, our CPU cooler is intact. So it just makes it so much easier when you if you're especially testing something, so you don't have to take out all of the mounting hardware from your CPU cooler or an AIO or whatever. Maybe once you're done with the testing, if you want to change it later, that's fine, but this will be the main cooler for this build. And honestly, it looks pretty cool. Like, looks pretty sleek to me. Let's quickly plug the fan. I'm actually gonna route it through here. I have a bit of OCD with cables, and I just like everything to be neat, everything hidden as possible that you can't see. And I don't even know if this cooler even works. I bought it off Facebook. That's So we should have it here. Okay, CPU fan. See, that's looking very clean, so you would barely be able to see the cables. And we're gonna put the RAM in last. Let's just put the RGB cable. I'm actually going to do a video about the RGB capabilities of this cooler as well. So if you guys are interested, because I think a lot of people don't know about this cooler's capabilities, and they just end up spending quite a bit of extra money on coolers that are on par and don't look as nice as this one. So it comes with two type of cables. So one is this old school 4-pin RGB cable, which is this medium size header, and the second one is this super tiny header, and it just goes into your USB 2.0. With our case, because nowadays USB 2s are being used for these sort of things, and boards like these, especially the ITX boards, only have one header, so you might want to pick one of these. So this is just splitting one of those USB 2s into two outputs, so you can have two of these headers. So I don't think we would be using it, but I'll just keep it handy, because I'll have a use case for it on a different build. So yeah, let's just find the header. So what you want to look for is this. So there's one pin that should be missing, so in this case it's this one here. So we should actually refer to the manual, but I'm just gonna do a bit of YOLO on this, and yeah, you can't really mess it up. Oh well, in my case, with my luck, I can. So it looks like we already have two headers. Oh, sorry Gimbal. Yeah, so it looks like we have two headers, so might be able to use one of these. I'll just use the furthest one. So I'll just clip it into here. Cool. And we just want to hide this cable, so I'll just wrap it up because the connector is just up here. It's just going to go in there. I'll just put it there for now under the cooler, just in case we have to do something, and I'll just tie it up later with some zip tie. Yeah, but we're gonna do a bit of testing outside of the case first to see if everything is operational. Solve Windows, you know, get it running. Just get it under this heat pipe. I mean, mind you, this cooler has pure copper heat pipes, and the base is also, you know, copper, so it performs really well. In case you're wondering, so it's just one of those things that people just think that, you know, it's gonna be shit. Okay. We'll have to be careful. Yeah, almost put it the wrong way. Cool. There it is. Sits pretty flush. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you might lose these cables, but it's fairly easy to find them on AliExpress. I've done that in the past for my other build. Yeah, and I would highly recommend if you can use one of these, because, you know, they are fairly silent, and they do have the switch here, the low and the high, so I always like to keep it on low. 7600X just runs fairly cool by itself. And with that, like, you know, our motherboard assembly is pretty okay. Alright, so next up is our RAM. So we are using 32 gigs of DDR5, I think it's 5600 Kingston based memory. I think it's Kingston, yes. You know, good thing about this cooler is you can't even see the RAM spots, but they're right there. You can see it. So yeah, let's just flick it this way so you can actually see it, and I can see what I'm doing, because I don't want to damage these. Just old school, it has both sides that need to be taken out. Cool. That's one. And once you have the first one, then it's easy to get the second one, so you know where to line up. Cool. Alright. And that's it. You know, black on black. It's gotten fairly heavy at this point. So yeah, let's just do some testing out of the box, and let's try to turn it on. Alright, so let's get started with the testing process. So first of all, we're gonna quickly connect one of our wireless keyboard and mouse. So we'll have some input. So what I've got here is, it's a 2K portable, well, I think it's 4K as well, a portable monitor. So we'll just connect this to our PC. So it takes in a mini HDMI, and these things are super handy, you know, because you don't have to plug in the whole setup, and it takes power from the USB-C or a normal USB port. Put the cables under and connect the HDMI port, and give it some juice from the Type C. I think I should just make this now. Okay, so we'll actually use the box. So there's a bit of elevation in there. Alright, so just for testing, well, even for the PC to run, we only need 2 cables. So we'll just have the 24 pin. Up for this. Right, so that kicks in, and we have the 8-pin EPS cable. Sometimes your cable might be split like this into 2 4s, so you just wanna, attach them in. But yeah, if you don't do it, they might not go in all the way, so, and the PC may not boot. So just like that, we have an 8-pin EPS connector, and that goes in right there. Might be a bit tricky, so let's just twist the motherboard. Cool. I'll hold a clip. Yeah. Okay, so we are pretty set. So we got everything that we need. We just turn the mouse keyboard on. Make sure we turn the yes. Alright, so we got everything plugged in. Let's get started. So we're gonna try to turn on the system now for the first time. Maybe a bit of change. I'll put the screen on this side so it's easier to see. Let's turn the power supply on. And using a flathead screwdriver, I'll just press the power buttons together. And voila, just like that. The lights go pretty. Yeah, so we are getting some input as well. On the monitor. What does the light say? Okay, so it's only the boot light that's on right now. The others are red, so let's wait what it says. Okay, cool. All the lights are gone. Maybe that is just the memory training. Okay, so here we go. Cool. 16. So I think I've got a faulty module in one of these RAMs. It takes a while to detect. Well, that's fine. Well, we're in the BIOS now, so this is good. So we got everything up and running. So the okay, for the BIOS we have pretty standard. We got everything in English already, which is good. We just gotta set up the date and time, which we will. Proceeding, everything seems to be in order. So is that NVMe detected? Yes, we have a NVMe detected, so that's good. CPU, where can I see my CPU details? Doesn't quite say what it is. Well, yeah, that's fine. Okay, yeah, no socket is available. Okay, so DIMM 0 is the one that's having the issue. So we'll have to swap that out with a different kit. And yeah, I think we're good for now. So let's get some Windows installed on this computer, and I'll see you in a moment.